What's good, YouTube? It is your girl, Taylor, back with another video. And I know right now I might not look, y'all probably like, girl, this girl is going through it. But no, it's nighttime. I haven't really done anything today. I was working on some things in my business and stuff like that. But so I might look a little tired, drained out, a little stressed. Next videos, you'll understand that I actually really be looking good. But for right now, it's just what it is. But I know y'all miss me, so it don't even matter. Anyways, I don't want to do too many cuts in this video. I just want to kind of do like a raw comeback to YouTube. And it has been on my heart a lot lately to get back on YouTube and really get to talking to you guys. As I've been off of here for maybe about a year or 2-3 years. Yeah, maybe about 2 or 3 years. But I just wanted to kind of give y'all an update and some new information about me, I guess, since, you know, y'all are nosy and I love it though, be nosy. But yeah, I didn't think to get dolled up. I just was like, you know, let me make a video. I just felt led to do it right now. So I'm doing what I feel led to do. Anyways, I have been gone for some time and it has been some years now, y'all. And life has been up and down, but I will say that I'm stronger, of course. I'm definitely in a place of peace for myself, removed away from individuals who no longer serve purpose or plan to the vision or what it is that what I'm evolving and doing under God's will and under God's way. So I just want to kind of cover every area of my life a little bit in this video. And it might end up being a 2-part video depending on how long this video may be. So yeah, let's start off with how is Taylor doing? And I know you guys are like, well, what happened to Emo Brat, right? You were making music, you were doing music so much, and what happened to that? So let's talk about, matter of fact, let's talk about Emo Brat first, and then we'll cover Taylor after. So one, for the past, I would say 2 years, I have really not, and this is about Emo Brat, okay? I've really not had any song motivations, or when I make songs, I really don't have any like motivation to make music right now. And I have a good reason though. So I have not really had any motivation to make any new music because I just have not found a beat that really stands out to me. I still think that I am on a quest of finding my voice or my sound. But I do want to go a little more further back from where we are right now. I'm going to take y'all back a little bit. So towards the pandemic, that's when y'all started to see Emo Brat come out and start evolving, okay? And I was doing music full time and I didn't work any jobs. I didn't do anything but hair, and I was doing music, hair, music, and that's all I did. So towards the pandemic, y'all may remember or may not, for those who may be new, my mother passed away. So around that time, I was grieving. On top of it, I received money from her passing. On top of it, I received money from everything that had happened, from unemployment to just everything all around the board. There's a couple places in me doing hair, I have money from that too. So I did have over $100,000, okay? And in that $100,000, and I'm not gonna limit my energy to make anyone feel comfortable. That was my actual reality. Or I'm not gonna limit my reality to make you feel comfortable if you might take it as braggadocious. But I had over $100,000, and I know a lot of people will say, well, girl, you had over $100,000. What did you do with it, right? And I didn't do too much bad with it, and it lasted a pretty long time. I went, and y'all remember I went to LA, I went to Atlanta, I went to, and I just did music all over. So I was doing music a lot with that money. While spending that money, I got down to like $60,000, right? Because you know, when you have money, you start to blow it because you just, especially when you've never had money before or that big amount of money before, you're not really aware of what it is to do. There are some people who are born with that awareness of knowing what to do with that money, and then there are some people who just wasn't raised into that, and I was just one who wasn't raised into it. So when I did get down to my last $60,000, I called my father, to be exact, and I asked him a question, and I said, Dad, I'm down to $60,000 with my money. What should I do with it? And he was pretty much like, I don't know, save some and send me some. So when you don't know better, you don't do better, right? So I did exactly what he stated, save some and sent him some, right? And I sent him some. And the money that I was saving, I have realized every day is truly a rainy day. So therefore, I just stopped, like, you know, trying my hardest to stop spending the money that I had. But because you eat, shit, sleep, pay for food every day, etc., you spend money, regardless to if you are trying not to or you're trying to. And even no matter how disciplined you can be with spending or not spending, we spend money on a nature every day, whether it's to eat, for hygiene, for beauty, for whatever. And when you're a woman, you're spending probably more. Okay, so boom. My money goes all the way down. But when I started getting a little more lower, something dawned on me. And I was just like, and this is the epiphany that kind of changed my trajectory, right? So I was just like, and this is back in New York still. And I was just like, you know, I don't want to, I can either make 500 good songs and spend so much money making at least 500 good songs until this one song blows up, or I can learn how to make more money and increase more income coming in, and make one good song or one shitty song and take the money and blow the song up, right? So I literally said, oh, okay, you know, I don't know. I think I'm chasing the wrong idea. I think I'm chasing it a little bit ass backwards, where I'm trying to make 100 good songs, which granted, I will end up, because the rate that I was going at the time, I knew that I could have blown up, and I know that I still could blow up, right? At the rate that I was going at the time, I'm sorry, y'all. A piece of my tooth. At the rate that I was going at the time, yeah, just a lot going on. At the rate that I was going at the time, my music could have blown up, and I know that it would have made some money some way, somehow, because I was already getting paid by my other songs, my other EPs and everything that y'all listen to. And I just want to thank y'all for that as well, because y'all got me to over 50 to 60,000 plays without me having to pay for marketing or absolutely anything. So I just want to thank y'all for that. That was definitely a time in life. So I was saying to myself, you know, I'm chasing the wrong dream. I think even if I do blow up, it won't be any good for me, right? Because then I would still have to like learn how to maintain and manage my money. Say I do blow up, what am I going to actually do with the money? And I know many people's visions and dreams are, oh, I'm going to take this money, I'm going to buy my mom and dad a house, and I'm going to buy my family and make sure I take care of my family. But I was like, to me, it's more than that. Like, I don't just want to make money to just take care of them. I want to make money so that I can do bigger things that make even more money, right? So I had to start to set back on my career. And I don't know if it's because I'm not necessarily looking for a good song, right? or I'm not necessarily looking for a good, or because I'm in this new journey, I cannot find like new beats that fit me. I just haven't been able to find, because what you look for is what you get, right? So if you search for something, you're going to find what you're searching for. And I haven't really been searching for music, right? So I have not really found anything that has really stood out to me for a while. Now, I do have over 200 songs backed up on my BandLab that will probably hit the charts and do amazing. But where I'm at with it now is like, nah, I needed to set aside my music career for right now, and it's okay to focus on how to stabilize myself. And we're gonna get more into that now too. I've never really been transparent with y'all because everybody, certain things I just don't open people up to, but I'm in a place where I wouldn't say I don't care, but I'm more open to having these conversations now. So life for me has been, and now we're kind of leading into the Taylor side because that's my real identity, right? So life for me has constantly always been a lot of ups and downs. And I just want to give y'all a backstory. I moved out of my mom's house when I was 15 years old. And so I'm now 26, turning 27 in a few weeks. And I have always figured everything out pretty much with God and myself, okay? So a lot of people who have seen my life or has been with me in this journey of my life, good or bad, has always taken that or seen it as I'm unstable or I'm a vagabond. And if you don't know what a vagabond is, it's pretty much a person who pretty much just goes like, just is never settled, right? And originally when I left my mom's house at 15 years old, it was for personal reasons that I won't speak on in this video. If you've seen other videos, you might get a glimpse, but eventually we'll talk more down the line about what my personal reasons was. So I left my mom's house at 15, moved to New York. So I'm originally from Connecticut, and I moved to New York at 15 years old. So when I got to New York, ever since then, I've just been fending for myself. It's been like if you don't get up, you won't eat. Or if you don't, you know what I'm saying, get out there in the world, you're not going to survive. Like, you're not going to get nothing. And my life for a long time has been for a long time has been with the ups and the downs, ups and the downs, ups and the downs, ups and the downs, okay? And I think a lot of people fail to realize when you're getting older, there are things you need to heal from, right? There are childhood traumas you need to heal from. There are teenage issues that you need to heal from. And all of those things on top of trying to stay positive is a hard combative fight, right? You cannot heal where you've been in the same place you've been broken. So I had to make decisions within myself to get up and ask God, of course, first. But I've already communicated with him way before I made any decisions to get up and go when I had the opportunity to. So the only thing, and this is just the truth, only thing for such a long time that kept me from leaving New York, because I would have left New York way earlier than what I did, is because I was in a court situation where I had a bracelet on my, not a bracelet, but I was under probation for over 5 years. So that prolonged my stay in New York, even though I did not want to stay in New York. But I took that, and when it happened, and I said, you know, maybe God has something he needs me to learn here before I close this chapter. So 5 whole long years, I stayed in New York, struggling and trying to figure out who I am, what am I going to do. I've always been sure of who I am, but I've come across so many people who's tested my self-esteem and tested my mind and my gullibleness at the time, and certain things that I just personally had going on and I wasn't even aware of, right? And I had so many people manipulate me and try to degrade me. And really, truthfully, I've always been smart, intelligent, beautiful, strong-minded, wise beyond my years. And I now understand that a lot of people have always just been intimidated at me. And it was, and some will say, well, why would I be intimidated at you? But bitch, you were. Whether you want to claim it or you weren't. And niggas too, okay? And I've always had the confidence and the courage and the strength to achieve in so many situations that were meant to set me back, or people put in like obstacles people might have placed into my life, or the devil sent through the people. But I ain't gonna give the devil the glory. But anyway, he'll send his people too. And all of those people that I've come across started to weigh out on my self-esteem. And it started to break me down a lot, and it started to put me in a place of loving but hating myself, because I hated myself for being so different. I hated myself for standing out. I tried to start, lowering my energy to satisfy people, and started to kind of lose myself in the midst of all of that. And I can admit it. Of course, I've always walked with a sense of confidence, so you would never know that was what it was doing. But in a sense, that's what it was doing. It was breaking me down. I mean, and then you're a person, especially when you're a person like me who has a chosen light and an energy where you're constantly being attacked from job, school, work. Job, school, family, friendships, right? Relationships. And every corner you're constantly being attacked. So I begin to isolate myself a lot and cut people off so quickly, and just become so untrustworthy with people, which in all actuality, you're never really supposed to I wasn't supposed to put my trust in nobody anyways. But because I've always been a little bit off, a little bit different, I used to be like, damn, I don't want to live like a life where I'm lonely, right? So me feeling like that allowed me to encounter situations where I would interact with people who meant, like, I literally should have never interacted with, who meant no good for me, to me, around me. They didn't even deserve to even breathe the air I breathe, like in my vicinity. They didn't deserve any of it. So in relationships, there were certain relationships that I should have left at a, hey, how you doing? And that was it. But I didn't know, because I did not want to be alone. And I do think I played a part, so I take accountability for it. But I do think our environment plays a part of that as well, and the people you hang around. And the people that I used to deal with, as far as calling them friends or keeping them in my close vicinity and range, their intentions were never positive for me. And I always was confused. And then I started to let them do beating to me. And then because they were beating me, or doing certain stuff to degrade me, right? Or to make me feel less than or powerless, right? I would start beating myself. And then it became a habit every day of beating. They're beating me, and then I'm beating myself, like, maybe I'm not worth it. Maybe maybe I am, like, because people want to take you away from succeeding and being the light that you are. So I would beat myself because of other people. But again, the first thing I have to do is take accountability for even letting them in my vicinity, or thinking that we even related on any level, and we never did. Okay, so where we're going to get to is now I ended up realizing that I was doing the wrong thing. It wasn't that the music is not going to be getting done. It's not that I can't make music no more. It's that I needed to get my financial situation together. And coming from a background of every job I've ever been to, the longest job in my 26 years of life that I've ever had has been is no more than 9 months. And every other job I've had has been 6 months, maybe 2 weeks, one day, right? Nothing that stuck. Or when I get there and try to make it stick, there's always an issue. And I noticed that constantly kept happening in every work environment that I went into. So I would leave jobs and do hair. That's when I first started. I would leave jobs and just do hair, do hair, do hair, do hair. And I made money doing hair. Now, if this was me talking to my younger self, I would have said, yes, keep doing hair, but set a schedule, control how many clients you take in, raise your prices, okay? Raise your prices, and also know when to say no. And I think when you're a service or any kind of business in general, because we serve people on a day-to-day basis, we're looking, of course, the more money you can make, you're gonna, you know what I'm saying, do more. And you have to set boundaries and core values and principles for yourself. And these were things I did not know back then. So I was just doing and kind of freestyling and living life however I could get it and getting by. And in this hustle mindset, which is really survival mode, right? And it's no structure to it. It's no structure in it. It's just all over the place. And not saying everything has to have a sense of structure, but I am saying when you just live life free flowing and not knowing what to do, you're literally setting yourself up for failure. And in the beginning, I did do that. Now, let me tell you guys about my apartment back in New York, because this is going to play a huge part. So when I left Connecticut and moved to New York, of course, I didn't know anything about paying bills. I didn't know anything about being an adult. I stayed in a youth shelter for about a year and a half before I got my apartment. Then I had a voucher. And if you guys don't know what that is, in New York, they give away vouchers that helps you to pay your rent. And the particular voucher that I got helped me to pay my rent for 5 years, which means I didn't have to pay a dime of lights, gas, nothing. My landlord got a full check, no matter how much it was. It was a full check. I could have been late and behind. They got a full check. And there was moments where, of course, that had its ups and its downs too. But it was a blessing at the time, I would say, for sure. So that happened that way, right? And I want to say this, in the midst of having that opportunity to not pay any bills and pay any rent, it sounds like a luxury, but the reality is what happens after when you leave and you don't have those services anymore and you have to pay bills, right? That changes the whole situation. And of course, I was young. I didn't think of that. I didn't think of anything. I just was like, I'm out of here. And impulsive. And we'll get into that in a while. So I never had paid any rent for a long time. They actually ended up covering more than 5 years. They covered 8 years of my stay in New York. So by the time I got up and left to move to Atlanta, I knew that I had some sense of responsibility to pay some bills. And I did have a certain amount of money set aside to do that. But by the time I made it to all the time that it took me to wait And I don't even really know what I was waiting for, but everything happens when it's supposed to happen. But the time it took me to wait and kind of being disobedient and not moving when God says move, especially when he gave me the money to move, I ended up landing in Atlanta with my last $600 out of $5,000 that I had, okay? So I used so much of money on transportation back and forth to a job. When I had the money, I didn't need to go to a job. Just so many mistakes that I made financially. And that was, again, the cue that I needed to get my shit together. So I moved to Atlanta with $600 in my pocket. Gets on the plane, get all the way to Atlanta. My godmother says to me, hey, yeah, I'm uncomfortable. Something's going on at the house, I guess, whatever, that whoever it was uncomfortable with me being there. I don't know why. I don't really care. But that ended up happening. And she was like, I was thinking about, putting you in a hotel room downtown for 3 days, just paying it up. And I was like, well, why would you put me in a hotel for 3 days? And I have my other god sisters' houses that I can go to. Was there like a conversation as well? Not being aware again, was there like a conversation as well that maybe nobody wanted me to stay with them? And then why would you hype me up to come here and make it seem like, oh, when I get here, it was going to be amazing? I still appreciate them for what they did do, but it just went left, and I'm so glad that it did. So I forgive them, and I'm like past it, but it is what it is. I just don't even want to talk about them. Anyways, I stayed with my god sister for 2 weeks. Again, appreciative for that. But then I moved into my apartment, which was inside of her neighborhood, because I found another program. Well, not found, but someone sent it to her for me to find a place. And when I moved into that apartment, it was a 2-bedroom, right? The luxury. Woo, I'm doing a little more better than what I was doing before. And then it was another program that ended up helping to pay rent. But they ended up closing their funding within I think 6 to 7 months. So they paid my rent for 7 months. And then the last few months, I had to figure it out. Keep in mind, if you've ever been to Atlanta, Atlanta's a driving state. I'm coming from New York, no license, no car, no money to get a car, no car to get a job, to keep the job, to get the car. No, and then I have them, but at the same time, it was a lot of shit, okay? That's all I'm gonna say. It was a lot of shit. And so I could not get around the way I wanted to. And then I did get a job as a manager, couldn't keep the job. Then I did get a couple other jobs. And because you know how you're on that starting level and you don't have any money, so some days you can come, some days you can't come. That was what it was given, okay? Let me drink some water. So that's what it was given. I couldn't get to the job. I sure couldn't. So, it ended up turning out to be more of a burden than a blessing than I thought it would be. I had a cousin out there, also my god sister and my godmother. I no longer communicate with. I have one god sister who we probably have we've had little minor conversations, but I just keep my distance from everybody when it comes to family, if we're talking about family. I love them, but I keep my distance. I do still talk to my brother mainly. I talk to my brother, but not a lot. I keep my distance. When it comes to the whole family situation, we're just going to put that on the side, okay? Because that's a whole nother video. But so I just could not get around to do what I needed to do when I was in Atlanta. And I thought the support, I went there with excited intentions of like, man, I went through New York for 8 strong years by myself, 8 to 9, close to 10, 8 to 9 strong years by myself. So, I'm going to come over here and my family is here. And that was the worst mindset I ever thought of. Because if any and everything could have went left, any and everything went left. And I just was like so unprepared for everything that happened. I went there so happy, so excited, and left there like, oh God, thank you for getting me out of here. Okay. So then I decided to get up and relocate because I could not afford my rent. I did get the rent paid down, but paid off, but they ended up saying to me, we're not going to renew your lease, blah, 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 blah. And so the months just started going by fast. But let's stop here while we're still in Atlanta before I talk about me relocating. So one thing I will say about Atlanta, out of all things I'm going to ever say about Atlanta, because there's a few things I can say about it, but there's one thing I want to let y'all know. If you ever want to learn about finances, legally or illegally, live in Atlanta. Okay? If you are into finances in any way, shape, or form, Atlanta is the place to be, especially when you get in with the right people, okay? Legally or illegally. And it was really my god sister, who kind of stemmed me to start understanding illegal ways of making money. Just by one comment she made, it expanded because, social media and the phones are listening. And so on my YouTube, it kept popping up information about what she brought up to me. And I will give y'all that in a whole nother video. If y'all want to know, comment below so I can put y'all onto some sauce. So I learned a lot. And I learned so much so that my whole perspective of everything that was going on in my life changed, okay? And when I say it changed, I realized that there are 2 different types of people in this world. There are producers and there are consumers. And I'm a consumer mildly, but I'm mainly a producer, which means with your creative skills, talents, and abilities, you can make money with that if you know how to monetize it, right? So, long story short, I went on this whole quest of fixing my credit, and kind of cleaning it up. I wasn't taking it serious so much so, but the new shit that I learned that was illegal, I started taking it real serious, and I really started making a little bit of money, okay? So, all that time that I was in, I learned so much and still had bad habits with finances. So I still was already educating myself about finances. It started off with motivational conversations, to talking about business, to talking about financial situations, to talk about budgeting, to talking about investments. I was indulging myself constantly in information like that, to the point where I had information overload, like burnout, and I had to stop watching stuff like that for a little while because I consumed. Just imagine a year before, just landing in Atlanta, in those months that I was in the house, because I couldn't go anywhere, right? I was, when I put on a video about someone talking about financial situations, it was a Charlie Brown effect. And it was like, wah, 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 wah. And I didn't understand shit they was talking about. And then a whole year later, a video that I watched a year before came up. And in the midst of me watching that video, Basically, I'm sitting there and I'm actually having a conversation back and forth with the video. And I'm disagreeing with this person, the same video I didn't understand a year before. So that's also another thing. If you're determined to do something to stay consistent, it'll literally change you, even if you don't think it's changing you, okay? Because if all work works, some just might be working on you and some will work for you, right? So when something is working on you, you don't even know it's working on you, but it's just working. And I indulged myself so much into that conversation. I was like, I watched this video before. And I looked at the video in the whole entire whole, and I was like, yes, this was one of the first videos I ever watched, because I remember him talking about socks and stuff like that. Not stocks, but socks, okay? And when I had watched it again, I was like, yo, that's so crazy. A year before, I didn't understand shit he was talking about. Now I'm over here disagreeing with him. So I got so much more indulged with understanding finances, investments, and all kinds of shit, right? So boom, lease is up, pay the rent up, lease is up, move out, okay? So I move, I get up, and I was like, God, before I get up, I said, God, where do you need me to go? Like, I don't know where to go, because clearly here is not it, and everything within those last few weeks of me being at that apartment kept signing me to Texas, Houston, Texas, Houston, Texas, 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 Texas. I was talking to a boy in Dallas at the time as well. So I'm like, you know how everybody got like places they want to go in their life, right? Like some people want to go to Miami, some people want to go to Washington, D.C., some people want to go to Dubai, some people want to go, you know what I'm saying? That was never a part of my plan, like to ever in my life come to Texas, right? So in my mind, I'm like, I'm not going to fucking Texas. And I'm like, this gotta be the devil talking. Why would I be going to Texas? This does not make sense. Why would I go to Texas? So y'all, I just kept hearing God tell me it's time to go. Book your ticket. And it was so real because I had not a dime in my account, not a dime. Well, I had money, but not enough to get a ticket, right? And so I was like, God, I don't know how I'm gonna get a ticket. And he was like, you do know. He said, sell everything you have in your house. I just went on a $5,000 shopping spree 6 months before that to get all the stuff that was in my house, to furnish the whole house. I just set that house up 6 months ago. Because when you move in, you got the bed first, you get the little bed, then you start adding stuff, the TV, and right? I just spent $5,000 of the money that I received to get the bed. To get the house furnished. So I began to sell stuff, and it worked out. So I ended up having way more than enough than I actually planned on having. And I had enough to book my flight, and I had enough, still had a little bit, and I had applied for this thing. It's a whole lot. I applied for this thing in from the bank, and I was like, okay, if it came in by Friday, it was a sign for me to go to, Texas. I said, so God, here's how you can answer my question. Here's how you can give me an answer if it's time to go. So I said, if you let them allow me to get that money, then I'm going to leave. If my bank account balance gets more fuller. Comes Friday, the day that I was supposed to get on the flight, I wake up at 3 a.m. I was woken up at 3 a.m. I immediately checked my phone, checked my email, and the money did not go through. And it sent me a message saying that. So I said, damn, well, that's my sign. I hadn't had everything packed up, everything pretty much sold. The only thing I had was my suitcase full of clothes. And I said, okay, maybe it's a sign for me to not go. I'm just probably not going to go. That's maybe a sign. See, I was like, yeah, you're right, God. So I ended up checking my account, and he was like, go check your account. Even though it wasn't what I asked for, my bank account balance did, in fact, change to more. Okay? So I said, okay, well, maybe it is a sign. So I said, this time I'm going to test the spirit again. Because if you test God, He's going to show you. So I said, okay. I don't have the money to pay for the ride either, because they're going to probably charge me for the bags and stuff like that. And then I'm going to have to eat and all types of shit. So as soon as I literally clicked on the Uber app, God is the type of God where he'll set something up to a year before that'll end up filling your cup up a year later. So he's the type where sometimes he'll have you do stuff and you don't even know why you're doing it, that'll end up pouring into this area into the next, time. And when you develop for whatever you're going through, right, whatever situation that's happening right there. And it did, in fact, was one of those moments. So I don't want to explain all of that. Anyways, I went on the Uber app. Boom. I got the ride and I only paid $7 for a $57 Uber. Okay. Fast forward, I get to Houston. No money for no place. Don't know nobody here. Walking around with this big old bag. Don't have a hotel book. Don't have an apartment. Nothing. Just money, my bag, and my whole life is in this bag. I mean, my whole entire life was in the bag, okay? Fast forward, I stayed at in a hotel lobby the first night because it was the safest place for me to stay because I didn't know where else to go. And it was good. I mean, clearly, you're not supposed to do that, but hey, God made it work. So the next day I stayed in the shelter. I stayed there for a month. They kicked me out because of jealous individuals that were in there and envious individuals. And I'm not talking about the residents. I'm talking about the staff. We'll talk about that in another video. Fast forward, I met a guy, started staying with him. He was too old. And if you know, it starts to become kind of like we didn't have any sex at all, but it becomes, if you're not giving that, which he's talking about, I'm talking about like he's talking about me. If I'm not giving that, girl, you can't stay here. I met a girl. Weird too, but yeah, long story short, boom, ended up in my first place. So I have been here now for going on 2 years. And it has been an experience. It has been a lot of ups and downs still. I'm not experiencing it as bad. And I think everything is based on what you think it is, right? So what your mind sets it to be is what you're experiencing. So to me, I'm not in a bad place. I'm in an actual good place. I definitely do believe that I can be in a better place and actually be doing more. There's limitations in my current situation that I think I'm using as far as a thing to kind of crutch myself right now. But at the same time, I'm aware of it. So I also am thinking my way out of it and praying with God and asking him about, clarification on what it is that needs to be done. But at the same time, I already know what needs to be done, which is one thing that I'm doing right now. So this has been, I would say, just part one of a catch up to where I am. I think the next video I'm going to do is a kind of reintroduction of myself. I know that I'm giving y'all so much information, but I do want to give you a reintroduction of who I am now. Not who you used to know me as, not what you used to know me as, not who you believe you think you know me as, not the visions you've painted in your head about me, not the information you've told other people about me. I want to paint my picture and my story and give you a reintroduction of exactly who I am, who I say, who God says I am, not who you say I am. So that will possibly be the next video for sure coming, because I realize when you're doing new things in life, and one of my mentors, she said, reintroduce yourself to individuals that don't know who you are and the new levels that you're on, and the things that you accept and you're no longer accepting, the values and the boundaries. So a lot of people who may watch this video may only know me for whatever they painted their picture in their head about me for. And I've never really introduced them to the new version of myself, the new person who has boundaries, that loves herself, that is doing a lot more deep inner work and more at peace, and do not want to be distracted by the old things, and just open to the new things that are coming in the near future, right? So I definitely want to bring the old and the new on the journey. As far as old followers, maybe not necessarily, and they may die off too, because I don't even think on the same frequency as y'all anymore either. So I just want to cut that short anyway. So if you got this far in the video, if you know me for whatever you've known me for, please know we don't think on the same level anymore. And I don't want to say, no, I don't think that I'm not better than anyone. Again, I'm not going to lower my energy for nobody. So, yeah, please understand, I'm not here. I think that'll be the next video that I want to do. And it'll be coming soon. But it was good talking to y'all. Make sure y'all like, comment, share, and subscribe to this video. And I appreciate y'all just, you know what I'm saying, loving on me, and constantly just being around and being here. And I love y'all, So I will talk to y'all later.